my opinion, industrials are they're going to suffer a little bit, probably short term, because the dollar right now, the dollar is so high that you're going to have a lot of export issues, and the industrials are just going to, you might have a lower production cost, but you're going to, if you're not, there's no one to sell it to, you're going to have some problems, right?
Harper Haniffin's a really high quality company. About 50% of its profits and revenues are exposed to what I would call short cycle industrial exposure. 30% of the business is aerospace, and they have a balance sheet that is primed to make further acquisitions, about $12 billion of incremental capital. So it kind of gives us the balance of secular growth vis-a-vis aerospace and possible accretive acquisition, and as well as exposure to a short cycle industrial inflection, which we expect at UBS over the next 5-6 months. We have to be a little bit patient about that. I think when companies start reporting results in January, we're not going to be pointing to a massive acceleration in short cycle, but the leading indicators are pointing in that direction, whether it's ISM manufacturing, small business optimism. So we're optimistic here at UBS that if you have me back on in March or April, we'll be talking about a different tune with respect to the short cycle industrial economy.
All right. You just mentioned ISM manufacturing. That's kind of been lagging, we'll say. It's been in contraction for just about a year. I think there was 1 month that was kind of an outlier, just tipped over into expansion, but mostly in contraction. When do you see that turning around, and how important is that to these names in your coverage area?
And I think with a lot of the deregulation that Trump's going to do and a lot of the tax cuts, that you might see that kind of loosen up.
Are there other tailwinds, or is simply manufacturing a key factor and a key metric to watch?
Well, you're absolutely right. The industrial economy has been in recession, if you can believe it or not, for the last 2+ years. It's the longest stretch of contraction in at least 3 decades. It's a cyclical business, so you would expect that to improve at some point. Interest rates matter. There's an
also with the tariffs that may have a turnaround as well.
Inverse relationship between interest rates and industrial output. The election is positive in the psychology, as you can see in small business optimism. So it's a short cycle, low visibility, so we'll see. But again, ISM manufacturing is very close to 50. It's been below 50 for 2 years. And small business optimism saw a surge from October to November and November to December. And so we're quite optimistic that over the next couple months, the industrial economy as measured by the ISM manufacturing, will go from contraction to growth. The question is, what's the magnitude of that improvement? We'll see that over the course of the next 6 months. I think government policy has a lot to do with that, but we're quite optimistic over.
And keep in mind, it's going to take some of these policies are going to be implemented, and you're going to see an immediate, so for example, if there's a trade ban on everything, and then all of a sudden that ban was lifted, you'll see some improvement. But it takes a while for these things to get baked into the market, right? It takes a while for you to see these things actually show and improve the data in the market.
For the next couple months, we'll see. The other tailwind that you mentioned, Frank, is AI and data centers. A lot of that infrastructure that needs to be put up is directly exposed to companies like Eaton with respect to electric components, power distribution systems. So that's another huge tailwind for the industry.
I don't want to put you two on the spot. We were talking off camera about quantum computing and the relation in industrial. So is there actually a tie-in with quantum computing and industrials right now?
Well, there's definitely a tie-in between AI and industrials, as you can see with Vertiv and Eaton and
And if you guys didn't see this, quantum computing stocks just got crushed when the CEO of NVIDIA started saying that we were 15 years out from quantum computing even working, right? So they got crushed. And to tie it in with industrials, it's kind of silly, right? It's kind of a silly question.
Brain technologies. So yes, there is an exposure. More directly, I would call out Honeywell. Honeywell has a 54% stake in a private quantum computing company called Quantinium. We'll see what the valuation of that. The last valuation round was about $5 billion. So there's $2.7 billion, about $4 per share of value baked into Honeywell's equity value today with respect to Quantinium.